The topic given to me was to speak about BA techniques, specifically which are mentioned in Babok, right? So we all know business analysis body of knowledge is the book that is required, that a BA goes through for taking certification exams for CCBA, CBAP, and ECBA. Yeah. So within this book, there are 50 techniques that are mentioned. So Babok says, any person who is doing BA activities is a business analyst. So the techniques are related to the overall different responsibilities a BA may get. So they are not necessarily related to your role. Your role may be from the product development side, so some other techniques will not be applicable. If your role is more like a consultant role, some of the techniques are applicable, other techniques are not applicable. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take up all those 50 techniques and talk about them from my experience so far. Yeah. Uh, so if I know about the technique, of course, I'll elaborate on it. If I don't know about the technique, I'll say that I don't know, and I'll try to, give as much knowledge as possible for the technique. Important thing is we will not be able to cover all the 50 techniques in one hour session. So it will be more like a series, and we'll see how many sessions we take. Yeah, maybe 2-3 sessions or even more if required. So let me also put up a disclaimer that I have personally not gone through Babok for this session. What I did instead was I asked ChatGPT what are the 50 techniques mentioned in Babok, and I'm going to go through the results that it has shared with me. Yeah, makes sense? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And Shipra, I have a request for you. So I
Mhm.
want to emphasize on majorly on the gap analysis, Moscow, and this one, SWOT analysis, because these three are majorly asked in the interviews with given scenarios.
Yeah, so as I said, I'm going to go through the techniques which are mentioned in Babok. And if
Okay,
any of the technique is left after the series, it's not one session, right? It's going to be a series. So if any
okay,
technique is left after the series, you can let me know, and I'll, take it up separately.
sure.
Yeah, because I noticed that some of the techniques are very, generic. So, for example, it says estimation. So, BA does estimation, but within estimation, you can follow different techniques, right? So, I'll try to share my experience of different techniques within the estimation tool or technique, and then if something else is left, you can let me know, and we'll cover that as well. Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, what we are going to go through are elicitation and collaboration techniques. So, first of all, what is elicitation? I have taken this topic, again and again. So, what do we understand by elicitation?
Elicitation is gathering and exploration
Of what?
of business needs.
Yeah. Um, so you are gathering and you are exploring what the business need. Yeah. So ultimately, you are going to get the business requirements out of the business need, isn't it? Yeah. So elicitation is more like you are figuring it out what needs to be done. So gathering, so there is a very thin line between gathering and elicitation. So when you say gathering, it means someone is saying do this, do this, do this, right? And elicitation is more like what do you want? What if we do this? What if we do that? And you try to present different solutions, different options to the customer, and you try to ask questions in such a manner that they tell you the exact problem they are facing. So sometimes the client may come and say, I want a field to be added to this screen, right? So if you say, okay, yeah, let me write a story for you, that's a requirement gathering. But if you go back and say, why do you need this field, what you are going to capture in this field, do we really need this field, can you not do this same data capture in some other field. So if you're talking like this, you are doing an elicitation because you are trying to figure out the root cause of the client need. Yeah, so that's the elicitation. The second word is collaboration. So, a business analyst cannot work in isolation. They always have to collaborate. They collaborate with client, they collaborate with dev team, they collaborate with QC team, they collaborate with project managers, and whatnot. So, the techniques that we are going to cover first is elicitation and collaboration techniques. So the very first technique on my list is brainstorming. So what is brainstorming? Brainstorming is to generate large number of ideas very quickly. Yeah, it encourages creativity, and I'm just reading out what ChatGPT has given me, but and then I'll elaborate more on it. Yeah, so it encourages
I'm sorry,
creativity.
Shipra.
Yeah.
Did not mean to interrupt you. My apologies. So I read Bebop long time back. I don't remember
Mhm.
the knowledge areas. But
Mhm.
then, if you really want to cover the 50 techniques,
Mhm.
you think it's better we go through the life cycle phases of business analyst? So I think the first one is business planning and something, and the second is design. And so going through this will actually cover the not only cover the 50 techniques, but also a life cycle of a project from a business analyst standpoint. Just a suggestion. I mean, however you're comfortable with.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let me look at the broad categories which it has given me. Yeah. So the first one is elicitation and collaboration. The second one is strategy and analysis. Yeah.
Let me
Third
see
is,
if I quickly.
yeah, requirement analysis and design definition technique. So it's more to do with the requirements. It's kind of a mix. Yeah. So solution evaluation. So most of the techniques are related to analysis phase only, which are there. Yeah. So if
I'm fine with it.
yeah, so if you talk about SDLC, right, software development life cycle, the first phase is planning phase. So within the planning phase, the main stakeholder is the project manager, right? And the project manager will be um, collaborating with BAs, dev, and testing teams to chalk out the project plan. But the ownership and the the participation of BA is minimal at this stage. Yeah, even if the BA is asked to estimate the work and do other things, the BA has to first figure out what are the requirements, isn't it? So requirements is the main thing. You may be looking into business requirements and or a high level requirements, which you will drill down later on in the planning phase. The focus will be on high level requirements. Later on, your focus will be on low level requirements or the solution design. But ultimately, you are dealing with the requirements. So most of the techniques, they revolve around requirements only. Yeah. And of course, second phase is your analysis phase, wherein the again the BA will be detailing out on the requirements. Third is dev and QC. So the BA work is almost complete. They just need to support the teams to understand what they have understood by themselves or what they have designed. Yeah. So uh, what I can see in terms of the techniques are they are revolving around requirements only. Okay. Yeah, is that fine? Suhas, I can't see the thumbs up because I'm
Sorry,
having
sorry.
pregnancy,
Yeah,
so you
it's
have to
fine.
say yes. Okay. I can see that Jay is having some connection issues, but yeah, hope he'll join us back soon. Okay, so the first technique, which is there is brainstorming. Yeah, so what is brainstorming? Brainstorming is a technique or a session in which different people come together and they generate ideas, or the ideas is not necessarily a new idea or a new product, but it could be something like okay, we have this problem which was shared by the client, what possible options we can give to the client. Yeah. And maybe some senior SME person can say, the solution option you are proposing is not catering to the business need, or the solution option you are proposing, some dev team may say, this is not technically feasible. So then you'll ask, okay, what else we can do. So collaboratively, you are thinking of solutions, and that's the brainstorming. So different people come together, in a single space, so on a teams meeting or in a meeting room, and you think, together what we can do. So no one can say, why business analyst has come to this meeting without solution. So business analyst may be solutionless, right? They may say, I don't know the solution, or what else we can give to the client, but this is what the client has given to me. So the role of a business analyst in a brainstorming session is to basically lead the conversation, right? So bring everyone in the same space and lead take the lead. So if the meeting is going into some other direction, the BA may say, okay, I take this point, but this is not what we are here for. Come back to the same topic and let's brainstorm. Another thing that BA does is to take meeting minutes, what actions needs to be taken, who will take those actions. So ultimately the idea is to collaborate and jot down the different ideas, so that then those ideas can be evaluated later on. So uh, in the first meeting we may say, okay, these are two or three solution options, but uh, can the dev team member do a POC kind of a thing and come up with whether these are technically feasible or not. Yeah, so those kind of meetings where people are coming together and generating ideas. So idea could be for anything. It could be, how we can make our product more successful, or what all new features we can add to our product, or the client is facing this problem, how we can solve it. Yeah, so those kind of things may happen, and people, they come together in the same space and they do brainstorming session. So that's the brainstorming technique. Any questions?
No, Shipra.
Yeah. Okay. Let me invite Jay again in case he lost his access. Okay. The second technique on the list is business rules analysis. So, what with
1 minute before we proceed, Shipra, so I have a question. So, in one of the
Mhm.
recent interviews, one of the panel asked me, how would you differentiate between brainstorming and interview?
Hmm. Yeah. So, brainstorming technique, you are just presenting the problem, and you are not providing any solutions whatsoever, right? Uh, but it's more like, you too are brainstorming what are the possible solutions. So you can say, I come up with this solution one and solution two, and can we generate new ideas here? But if it is an interview technique is more like a question and answer round, where you ask very specific questions. Yeah, and most of these questions are something which you have prepared in advance. And how will you prepare for these questions? Is maybe going through the client email that the client has sent across, or the some documentation that client has provided. So you can do some prep work, and you have a list of, okay, these are the 6 7 questions I'm going to start my discussions with. Yeah, and as and when the client is giving you more information, you keep on asking new questions. So in interview technique, you are just asking questions and getting answers and jotting them down. In brainstorming, it is possible that for 5 10 minutes people are not able to give any suggestions itself. Yeah. So let me take an example. So okay, so for example, you have a club. Yeah, and within this club, your members come, and you are just starting this club. Yeah, so this is what we do at the start of the BA club as well. Yeah, we said, okay, we want to start this club. There are 4 5 members who seem interested in it, but how do we want to run this club? Yeah, do we want to run it on weekly basis? Do we want to run it on monthly basis? Or do we want to, do a quarterly session? And then whether we want to do the sessions on in the morning or in the afternoon or in the night. Yeah, so it was like collaboratively, everyone pitched in and they said, okay, let's do a session on Saturdays because people can sleep late in the morning on Sundays and people are more free. Yeah, let's do it on in the night because Saturday people may have some plans. So we we then tried with couple of options. We tried doing a session in the morning, we tried doing a session in the evening, and we realized that evening time is more comfortable for the people. So that's a brainstorming kind of a thing. And then we brainstormed, okay, how we can make this session or this club successful. Yeah, so someone said, okay, let's have a logo. Yeah, and the logo that we have currently is not the logo that I designed. Someone designed it for for me and shared it with me and said, let's go for this logo. So everyone is coming together and giving ideas and collaborating on it. Yeah, so it's not like so tomorrow if I say I want to do something different for this club, then you can come and say, okay, Shipra, let's do a quiz. Yeah, let's have a session wherein you ask questions and we'll answer. Yeah, so that's something new. It's a new idea. Yeah, so we can brainstorm together and we can say, okay, how we can make this a club successful. So that's a brainstorming session. But if I say I want to schedule an insurance quiz, what do you think the frequency should be? Or and what do you think the number of questions should be? Should it be subjective or objective? Should it be multiple choice questions or not? Should I keep a negative marking or not? Yeah, so if I have come up with a set of questions altogether, then that's an interview technique, because I'm just asking a question and someone, a fixed person or the client is giving me answers. Brainstorming, the idea can come from, even a QC member or any admin person even. Yeah. So that's the difference. Does that clarify?
Yes, Shipra. So whenever we need some structured information, we should go with the interviews, and when we are when it should be open forum, we need multiple ideas. Then we should go ahead with the brainstorming.
Right. So any any discussion, right, the other person may be answering you in a closed manner or in an open manner. Yeah, so even in interview, so let's say there is an interview happening, so you can have closed answer or you can have an open answer. And what does that mean? An open answer is an answer which is subject to further questioning. A closed answer is an answer where you are just giving yes no kind of a one word answer, and there is no further scope of questioning. Yeah, so for example, if you say, if an interviewer asks you, are you open to working on weekends? Yeah, so a closed answer will be yes, that's fine. Yeah, and that's the end of the conversation, right? There is no scope for further discussions. But an open answer would be like, while I give equal preference to my family as well as my profession, I am okay to work on certain weekends, but I would not expect it to be a regular uh, thing. Yeah, so here the interviewer may ask you further questions. Okay, where do you stay, and what's your understanding of frequency? Yeah, so if you have to work for one whole month during the weekends, is that fine with you, or does that mean 6 months is also okay with you, or 6 months is too long for you, right? So there is a lot of scope for further probing and further questioning. So that's an open answer. So you are giving a big statement, and the person, you're giving clues to the other person to answer you in a particular manner. Yeah, so that's a closed sorry, open answering technique. So if you if you want the discussion to go in an open manner where people will pitch in and even people will ask question, right? And everyone is pitching in, everyone is answering it, you don't know who will question, who will answer. That's the time you'll go for an brainstorming session. But if you are saying, I am going to ask you questions, and there is one person who is going to give me answer. If the other person does not know the answer, it's the responsibility of the same other person to go and ask around and get me the answer I require. So two or three or limited set of users are there, and the other person is not giving you ideas. Other person is just answering you. That's a interview technique, and that's the case of scheduling an interview. Yeah,
Okay, Shipra.
clear now?
Yeah.
Okay. Jay, I can see you have resolved your connection issues and you have joined us back. So, do you have any questions? We talked about brainstorming technique and difference between brainstorming and interview.
No, no question, Shivra. So in broader context, in the BA ecosystem, I initially said elicitation is gathering and exploration. So brainstorm is basically the exploration part of it.
Hmm.
Brainstorming is a subset of interview. So if I have to give you an example, a bank comes up with a business need saying KYC can be done digitally. So this can be taken up as an elicitation gathering technique. But then when it comes to brainstorming, brainstorming is not specific and and restricted to requirement gathering. It can be explored in terms of risk. It can be explored doing qualitative risk analysis, doing assumptions on brainstorming. So just to extend my example on requirement gathering, where a bank says we want to go digitally from a KYC perspective, the project manager comes back and says that there is a risk where.
Hello.
Am I audible,
Yeah,
Shipra?
yeah, we lost you for a minute.
Oh,
So
sorry,
you
sorry.
were giving
So
an
I was just
example. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just extend my example of digital KYC. So initially the business need was to do the KYC digitally. Now there is a risk. The project manager comes back and says that there is a risk that that the KYC is being done digitally using AI or using filters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if this happens, then there is a risk to the bank that they might end up allowing customers to be customers who they shouldn't be allowing to. For example, non-designated nationals, the people who are high-risk individuals, people who are fraudsters. So this comes as a requirement from a brainstorming perspective, and the BA and the project team meet and they brainstorm on how to curb and how to restrict these kind of digital frauds. Right, this could be a part of brainstorming.
Yes, yes, a very good example. Thanks, Jay. Yeah. Okay. Shall we move next? Okay. So the second technique on my list is business rules analysis technique. Yeah. So basically, what are business rules first? So can you give me an example of a business rule? Okay. So business rule is a rule that the business has to follow. There is no way the business can bypass that rule. Yeah, and every business they have to do the transactions in a certain way. So the rules may come from regulatory requirements. So for example, a regulator may say you cannot take money from a person who has been blacklisted. Yeah, so for example, you cannot so for example, Obama bin Laden has been blacklisted, and you are not supposed to do any monetary transactions with this person. So that is a business rule. Another business rule could be that depending on your authority you can approve something. So only a person above a certain level can put a approval on this contract or this transaction. Yes, that's a business rule. Another example of business rule could be you cannot end something before starting it, right? So you cannot put a starting date as 31st January and end it on 28th January. That's not possible, right? You have to put a date which is after the starting date. So those kind of rules, um, they are as a business analyst, you have to figure out the rules that the business needs to follow and ensure that all these rules are, you know, part of your um, part of the system that you are developing. So that's the business rule. So it's a bit tricky to figure out all the rules because even the client may not. So if you're just starting a project from scratch, and if you say, what rules do you have to follow, the client may say, oh no, we don't follow any rules, we are very relaxed organization, right? So then the role of the BA comes into picture, where the BA will ask further questions, further probing they'll do, and they'll figure out what are the business rules that the client has to follow. Yeah. So then the next question that the BA will say, okay, when you do business, does it happen that sometimes you get some restrictions from someone? So are there any authority levels in your organization? So if the person say yes, I can't approve something, only my manager can approve it, that's a business rule you have to figure out and build in your system, right? Another question that you can say, okay, within this industry, I'm aware that so and so regulatory bodies are there. So for example, in India, RBI is there. So uh, what rules this RBI or this regulator imposes on you? Yeah. So that's again a set of business rules you can get by asking this question. Okay, then another question, do you have any particular company policies? Yeah. So that, for example, gratuity, company has to give you gratuity, right? So that's again a rule which needs to be there, part of the HR system, right? System should ensure that every employee is getting their gratuity. So that's again a business rule. You can ask the question like, um, uh, do you want system to do some calculations automatically rather than you just putting in a number, right? Is this something that you are saying this particular field needs to be added in, but how do you get data for this field? So is it like, you do some calculations, and if this is a common set of calculations or a standard set of calculations, can I build in some rule in the system to automate this rather than picking up your calculator and doing the calculation and then entering the number? So many such rules you can ask the person, and you can elicit the requirements out of the person or out of the client, and you can put all those into your system. So that will be the starting point of the business rules checklist, or the document that you will be preparing. Yeah, so it helps the clients in meeting the regulatory compliance, and it helps the client because it will avoid the typing errors, right? So if someone is doing the calculation over calculator, and instead of 308 they are writing 380, that's a huge mistake, right? That's a typing error. But if system is doing that calculation, system will not make that error, right? So business rules are very very important. They can even define the processes. Yeah. So first, this person will do this, second this person will do that. The second person cannot start their work till the first person has confirmed that they have finished their step. Yeah. So those kind of processes can be built in via the business rules as well. So we talked about sanctions requirements last time, and we said if the person is a red flag, then system will not allow to give a loan to this red flag person or to this fraudster person, right? So all these are business rules, and uh, the work of a BA is to analyze the rules to be built up in the system. So if you're starting a project or a product from scratch, you should not only focus on the field level validations, right? So most of the time what people will focus on is field level validation. So they said, okay, client is asking for these 10 fields, uh, out of which 5 will be text field. So it's okay. I'll just ask for what is the word limit of this text field. And then another 5 fields are again, just numerical fields. So I'll just put up or ask questions around how many decimal places you want it to be entered, right? But your work as a business analyst, do not stop at field level validation. Do not just think of one field. Try to figure out what rules are associated with this field. Can I automate this field? Is this field impacting further in some other area or some other field? Is it field a conditional mandatory kind of a field? So don't just think about mandatory and optional fields. Think about conditional mandatory fields. So you may have to write a business rule around, if other field is having this particular value, then this field will become mandatory. Yeah, if A has particular value, then B will become mandatory. So that kind of validations can be there. Defaulting logics can be there, wherein you'll say, okay, if A has a value of X, then default 0 in B field. If A has a value of Y, then default 1 in the B field. So that kind of rules you may create. So just get above the field level validations and try to figure out the business rules associated, uh, which needs to be built up in the system as well. Yeah, and it's a very important, very critical bit. And that's the uh, area which will showcase that, yes, this person knows the domain, this person knows the business. Yeah, if you just say, okay, you tell me what to do, you are not showcasing your domain expertise. Yeah, any questions?
No question, Shikra. It was
I'm sorry, I lost you there. It was.
it was good. Explanation
Okay.
was good, huh?
Yeah, it was clear. Okay, good. I can see Harsh has joined in. Harsh, I'm sending you an invitation to speak. It will be good if you can come on stage and, we can have a discussion in case you have any questions. Okay. The third technique I can see is data mining technique. Yeah. So what we are talking about in data mining is to analyze the large sets and to identify the trends or patterns within this large data set. So what we do, it's this technique is mostly used by business analytics people, not business analyst people, but analytics team will be using this technique mostly. But that does not mean that a business analyst cannot use this technique, right? So what you do is you first get all the historical data that you can, you get all the operational data that you can get. So what the team is doing on day to day basis and what kind of data they are entering into the system, or maybe they are using just Excel files at the moment and they are looking for some system. So you try to get as much uh, data as possible, and then you analyze this data. So you apply some statistical tools or analytical techniques, or you apply some analytics on top of it, and then you try to figure out a trend or a pattern. Yeah, so what is a common trend, or what is a common pattern that is coming out of this data? And then you present these this as a then you try to figure out what requirements I can get out of this data and this insights. Yeah. So when stakeholders are not able to give you proper inputs, this help you uncover what is hidden behind the scenes. So I'll take an example of a data mining sort of thing that I personally did. It was not easy, believe me, because I didn't had access to any good analytical tools. I just used some SQL commands, yeah, and queries to figure out the trends. But it took me some time, but it was very useful at the end. So the example which what happened, to give you a brief background of the project, is uh, we had the premium data in the system, right? So I work in insurance domain, so you are getting some premiums out of different contracts. And then the idea was to match this premium, let's say not USM, but let's say with the cash, right? So the system says you have to collect 1,000 rupees from Shipra, right? And in your bank account you have received 500 rupees from Shipra. And let's say there is a breakup of this 1,000 rupees that you need to collect. So the system says for policy A you have to collect 700 rupees. For policy B you have to collect 300 rupees. But what Shipra has done is Shipra has paid 500 rupees, right? Now the requirement was, I want the system to match that this 500 is against what. Yeah. So is it against policy A, or is it against policy B? Or is it more like 250 against policy A and 250 against policy B, right? So system should be capable of matching the premium with the cash. So that was the requirement. So as part of this requirement, we gave all the matching functionalities. But what the client also wanted was auto matching. So what the client said, why can't the system do an auto matching? Why I have to go in every time and try to do a match, right? If it's very straightforward. So for example, if Shipra had to pay 1,000 rupees for policy A only, and 1,000 rupees she has paid, why can't system say yes, 1,000 has been received and I need not do anything, right? So it was a very genuine demand. But it was not straightforward, right? Because there were different currencies involved. As I said, you don't know uh, what amount Shipra has paid for policy A, what amount Shipra has paid for policy B, because you only have the total amounts, right? So there were a lot of nuances in it. So when we tried figuring out the rules of auto matching with the client was clueless, right? They were like, how can I tell you, right? I can't tell you all the rules, but I want system to be sufficient enough that at least I need not look into all the 100% of the records. System should match, give me a match of at least 60, 70, 80% records, and I should be bothered about only 10, 20%, as low as possible, should be there. So that was the project I was assigned to. And the what I did was, I figured out the trends. So if a person has only one policy, whatever money is coming for it, it will be for that policy. So that's one trend. Yeah. uh, Cash, the currency matching, right? So that used to give me some idea that if a person had to pay 100 USDs and the person has paid 70 GBP, I can't match it. But if the other person has also paid 50 USD, then this 50 USD must be belonging to 100 USD, right? And now only 50 USD is left. So that's the second rule. So w- what I did was, I figured out the trend by looking into the data which was available in production support, the historic data, and I tried to figure out the trends based on which I can develop the automatic rules. So we started with few rules at the start, but it was not giving the desired result. So we dig further and further and further. And finally, the set of rules that we implemented gave a very good match to the customer. And it took the project from the brink of getting discarded, because client was like, I'm not going to sit around and keep on matching all the 10,000 records that are coming my way, right? You have to auto match, and to a good extent. So at one point in time, the client was like, your solution is useless, I'm not taking it. And we were able to convert it to the point where 70-80% records were getting matched automatically. And we were able to convince to the client that rest are the data issues, because someone did not enter the data correctly, and that's why system was not able to do a good match. Yeah. So the project was very successful in the end, because we were able to mine the information from the data. So that's a real life example which I was thinking of when I when I talked about this data mining technique. So it's nothing but to dig into the data and identify the trend. So you don't need very high end or sophisticated analytical tools. If you have access to those, that's very good enough, and that's very good, and that's going to be very helpful. But if They are not there, you can still use Excel, you can still use select queries in SQL, and figure out the trends by yourself as well. But what you need is you need to understand the domain. That's the essential bit. Without understanding the domain, without understanding the business of the client, it will be very, very, very hard to and take out the trends out of the data. But if you understand the business, it will be helpful to a great extent in certain kind of projects. Yeah, so that's about data mining. Any questions? Any similar experiences? Anyone? You're still with me, right?
Yes, Shipra.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll take it as a no, right? No questions. The next technique on the list is data modeling. Yeah. So what happens in data modeling is you represent data entities and you show the relationships between the data entities, and you kind of create a visual diagram. Yeah, so it tells you what are the data requirements, and what are the data definitions. And this technique is more used by technical architects to design the system and the database. Yeah, so it helps you figure out the gaps between the data usage, and it helps you to convey your message to the team as well. So if you have seen the ER diagrams or the class diagrams that the team has prepared, so that's the data modeling bit. Yeah, have you ever seen these class diagrams?
No, Shipra, not in my
No.
case.
Okay. Okay, yeah, maybe you can Google out, and it will give you some idea about how this class diagram looks like. So basically, if I take an example, right? So let's say uh, there is an HR system, right? And you have employee as one entity, as one data entity. Yeah. So within this employee data entity, so you'll create one box, and at top of the box you'll say employee. Yeah, and then you'll note down what all information you are going to capture for the employee. So for the employee, maybe you are going to capture the employee ID, employee first name, employee last name, employee designation, employee role, so those kind of things. Yeah, so that's one box. And then you connect it to another box which says employee address. Yeah, and within this employee address, you are noting down the street number, lane, building name, flat number, street, community, country, county, um, state, zip code, um, those kind of details. Yeah, and then this employee um, box is also connected to employee contact details box. Now within employee contact details, you are capturing telephone number, email ID, LinkedIn profile ID, Instagram ID, WhatsApp contact details. So those kind of things. So in a way, you are telling the data elements, and you are making a connection between them and helping the team understand what all data uh, columns should be part of which tables, and um, how they will connect to each other. So because if you are saying employees connecting to employee address, that means that within your employee address table you will have an employee ID as a linking field or a foreign key. That's what we call it. Similarly, in employee contact details, you'll have employee ID. Yeah, but your employee address ID need not be there either in employee or in employee contact details. So those kind of things, uh, you know, will be there. But now, if you are looking at this diagram, how it will help? If you are looking at this diagram, you are saying, I'm making a connection to employee address, but I have not included employee ID field. in the list of columns that I'm going to create, right? So you'll figure out the gaps, and you'll start adding more elements to it. So it helps you visualize how you are going to structure your databases. Yeah. So as a business analyst, we may not be asked to prepare this data modeling diagram. uh, it's more to do with the technical architect. He will be the one who will be preparing these, right? But as a business analyst, we may come across some documents which will comprise of these diagrams, and we can easily understand them as well. Yeah, any questions?
No question, Shibra.
Yeah. So what I want you guys to do is just search for a class diagram in Google and see how it looks like. Yeah. Tell me the example that you are looking at. Yeah, Suhas, you can search for a class diagram, right?
Yeah, I'm searching now.
Search for a class diagram and explain over the call how, if you can understand this, and how does it look like. Yeah, anything came up? Jay, are you around?
Yes, with you, Shukra.
Can you search for class diagram and let us know how does it look like?
Yeah. So if I go out of X now,
Mhm.
I lose the connection.
Okay. Okay.
But then I can very when I was reading Vibok, I clearly remember entity relationship diagram. So that's one to one and one to many. That's also known as cardinality mapping.
Mm-hmm.
So just to extend your example of employee HRMS system, so one employee can complete one course, business analyst course. So one employee can complete one course. So that one-to-one relationship. But then one course, the same business analyst course can be completed by many employees. So that one-to-many relationship.
Right. Right. That's a very good point. Yeah. Another thing is in ER diagrams that you'll see are the methods. So when I say methods, that means that what this
So,
entity can do.
sorry, Shibra, sorry to interrupt you. So I searched for the class diagram and I found there are some UML diagrams as well.
Hmm.
Uh, but
ER
I'm
are.
not, yeah, but I'm not able to understand it. I will go through it again in detail.
Hmm. Okay. So when I'm Googling it, it's giving me a diagram on Geeks for Geek, and it says animal at the top, right? And in that it's saying animal has an age, animal has a
Hmm.
gender.
Hmm.
This age is an integer and gender is a string.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then it has method. So is mammal, right? So is mammal is a method which will say, is this animal a mammal or not? Yeah. And then under this animal, I can see three more entities. One is duck, one is fish, and other is zebra. Yeah. So in duck, they have added a um, data type as a beak. Is it yellow or not? And then in fish, they have said, okay, what's the fin size? Yeah. Or what it can eat. In zebra, they have added, is this zebra wild? Yeah, so these are the type of data that they are capturing, and then they are capturing the method. can duck swim? So this duck can swim and this duck can quack. The fish can swim but cannot quack. Zebra cannot swim, cannot quack, but zebra can run. Right. So that's the diagram they have explained, and it's very easy to understand. So uh,
Yeah,
there
I
are,
went through the same diagram only on the Geeks for
okay.
Geeks. Hmm.
Yeah, so you can understand it,
Yeah, yeah.
what it's trying to say, right?
Hmm.
So uh, for one, the important things to note here is entity. Entity is what thing we are talking about. So animal is an entity, duck, fish, and zebra. All four are entities. Then the data element. So data element is uh, what describes this entity. So age, gender is the data element of animal. Beak color is a data element of duck. Size is the data element of fish. Yeah, wild is a data element of zebra. So what identifies this particular entity, animal, zebra, fish, or duck? Yeah. Next is method. So the one which you see with curly brackets, right? So that's the method. And I'm sincerely hoping whatever I'm telling you is true, because it's been a while since I've seen or read about AR diagrams. But yeah, forgive me if I'm making a mistake. But yeah, I hope I'm telling you correctly. So is mammal is a method. Yeah, swim is a method. Quack is a method. So how do you swim? So that's something which will be explained within the swim method. But is this swim method applicable to the duck? Or is this swim method applicable to the fish? Yes, but is this swim method applicable to zebra? Maybe not. Yeah. So that's the third thing. So entity, data element, method. There are three things. And the
But
fourth
for
thing
the
about,
swim attribute, they have written plus and minus. For this one, for duck, they have written as in plus, and for fish, they have written in minus. So what does it mean?
I have no clue.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yeah. As I said, I've not looked into ear diagrams from quite some time now, but yeah, and the fourth important thing is the cardinality that Jay talked about, right? So what we are seeing here is that duck, fish, and zebra are all animals, so all are under the animal category. So if we say the relationship between duck and animal is 1 to 1. So one duck can be only an animal or a bird, right? So that's the relationship we are talking about. But if we go back to the previous example of employee address, so one employee can have multiple addresses, right? But each address will belong to one employee until and unless the couple is also working in the same company. Yeah, but the IDs will be different, so they'll be counted as different employees. So uh, um, so the relationship between one entity and the other entity is also important in diagrams.
Okay.
Yeah. um, so as I said, these diagrams, they help you basically design the database tables and database relationships. Yeah. Have you heard about normalization? Do you know what that is? Hmm?
Yeah, I've heard it.
But do you know what that is?
So when I was working one of the data projects, not into data, it was in Excel reports project. So what we used to do is, whatever the data is available, so we used to groom it, we used to normalize the data. It means we used to have some proper formulas. If it was unstructured, we try to make it in a structured way. So
Hmm.
is it the same normalization?
Yeah, kind of. So basically, when you normalize data, you are basically saying do not repeat the data, right? So break your big data into smaller chunks and store it in such a manner that uh, it can be easily read, easily processed, and you can do other things on the data. So going back to the employee and employee address example, right? So why you are storing employee address in a separate entity? You can include employee address within the same table as well, right? Employee contact details also within the same table. But what will happen if you do that? If you do that, your employee table will be a big table, right? So one employee will have 4 5 fields about employee ID, employee first name, last name, and then another set of 7 8 fields about the address, and then another set of fields to capture the contact details. So it will be a very big table, right? And now what if there is no one to one relationship, there's many to many kind of a relationship. Yeah, so for example, levels. So let's say one table says my employee levels. So I have employee at level 1, employee at level 2, and employee at level 3. Now at level 3 I can have all I can have many employees at the same level, right? So if you are defining the levels along with the employee, then every time you are repeating the level details, right? So this level may be associated with level description, what's the role which you call it with, what's the payroll associated, some details around the level can be there, right? Now if you are including all these level details within the same employee table, then what you are doing is you are basically repeating the same thing again and again for different employees. So if at one level you have 100 employees, for 100 employees you are repeating the same thing, right? This employees within the range of this budget, and these are the level policies, and whatever information is out there, right? But the same thing applies to all the 100 employees, so you're just repeating the same thing again and again. Now if someone is going into the data and trying to process the data, there's a lot of unnecessary information the processor needs to go through, and it's going to make your system very slow. So it's better to normalize the data in the sense that take out all the common details of the associated with the level in a separate table, and then the employee table should only focus on the employee basic details, without which it cannot do away with, right? And then within the level you or keep a separate table which will say, okay, at level 3 I have these 100 employees. Yeah, so it becomes it makes the processing faster, and it makes it easier for system as well as people who are working on the system to understand. So that's the normalization. So when you prepare these diagrams or class diagrams, you basically try to figure out where I can break down my data. So if within your class diagram there is a entity with 100 data points which are even going beyond the screen, it's a clear cut indication that you need to break this data into smaller chunks. Yeah, so all the inconsistencies in data, because when you're visualizing it, you're saying, okay, I have this employee and I have this label, but I have not linked the two, right? So those kind of thoughts will start coming into your mind if you start seeing the um seeing something visually rather than just looking into the database that, okay, yes, we have created 4 tables, but have we created the relationships between these tables? That's an important question. Yeah, is it a bit more clearer now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be honest, it was a little complex for me, but I will go
Mhm.
to the Google Chat GPT and understand the class diagrams now.
Yeah. So, as I said, it's more to do with technical architect. Yeah. But as a BA, you may be expected to provide your inputs by reviewing those. Yeah. So, someone technical may come. So, not at a fresher stage, but maybe at a senior stage, some technical architect may come to you and say, I prepared this class diagram. Can you just have a look and let me know in case you think something is not quite right. Yeah.
Yes, you
So
should be able to validate it.
yes, so review is something that you may be asked to do. Yeah, um, uh, because before creating the database itself, they'll create this diagram and ask you to review it. Yeah. So again, diagrams is not something, or UML diagrams. It's not something that you'll learn on day one. It takes a lot of practice and lot of you know learning to do this. So what I'll suggest is not go too much into detail, because the practicality of ER diagrams and UML diagrams in most of the BA profiles that we come across is not there. Yeah, so just hit the surface and have some idea about this, and that should be sufficient for the time being. Yeah, until and unless you work on a project where someone asks you to review it, you can then explore and then search for it and then go forward. Yeah, but if you are just preparing for interviews, just learn or understand what they are, and how they are helpful, and even the uh, surface of the learning is sufficient, because the topic itself is too huge. If you try to search for UML, you may even find UML books, which talk about the same thing in over 100 pages, 150 pages. So um, see, there is a limited time everyone has, right? And we have to figure out what's the best use of that time. So ER diagrams is not something that may be the best use of your time right now. But I won't say don't understand it or don't go through it. Just the basics. Yeah. So as I said, we can't connect. We can't cover all the techniques in one session. So we are going to cover it over a series of sessions. I was hoping we'll do at least 10, but right now I'm at 4 only. But just a quick recap. We talked about brainstorming session, wherein people come together and brainstorm ideas. We then compare it with the interview technique, wherein interview is more question and answer kind of a technique, and it's more structured, closed response kind of a technique. Then we talked about business rules analysis. We looked at certain questions that you may ask to get the business rules out of the client. Again, you need to elicit the rules out of the client. So that's an important thing you have to do as a BA. The next technique we talked about data mining, wherein you are analyzing the data and taking out trends, which will help you in certain kind of projects. Not every project, but in certain kind of projects. If you are in a business analyst role, if you are in a business analytics role, then you are going to make a lot of use around the data mining techniques, and you may even use some advanced tools to do so. um, and of course, I'll recommend using AI. It may give you very good insights. You never know. And the last technique we talked about was data modeling, wherein you are creating ER diagrams, class diagrams, UML diagrams, whatever you want to call it, and it gives you a visualization. And we stress that uh, a basic knowledge is sufficient for ER diagrams and data mining as well. Yeah. So let's continue talking about rest of the techniques in our next session. Um, so next and next to next week, I will be super busy, so I'll prefer not to take the session. But the third week from today, so what will be the date on that day? Just give me a minute.
20 or 21st, it will be.
Yeah. So today is what?
Today's
Today is
31st.
31st, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Saturday it
So
will be 21st of February.
yeah, 7th, I'll be packing. 14th, I'll be tired. Yeah, so 21st February. So let's connect on February 1st, 21st. I didn't wanted a break, but I didn't wanted to postpone the session either. But yes, uh, that's what it is. So let's connect on February 21st, and we'll talk about rest of the techniques. But I'm sincerely hoping that the discussion today was helpful.
Yeah, Shipra, it was helpful.
Great, great. So I'll see you on 21st then, yeah?
Thank you. Thank you, Shipra.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for joining in, and thanks, Jay, as well. I know you might be
Thanks,
having
Jay.
some issues, but yeah. So thanks for today, and we'll connect next on
Thank
February.
you, Shibra. Thanks a lot, you.
Yeah, thank you.